What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded. I am your lore master, James. And apparently I've also given my last name sometime, so there you have that. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today we're going to be talking about some fun stuff, but if you're watching this video on demand, you know exactly how this goes, exactly what's about to happen. I'm about to tell you a couple of things, including but not limited to that you need to check me out at twitter.com/lore reloaded, where we can talk about all kinds of fun stuff. In fact, YouTube has recently done something that I think hurts my ability to do my career for you guys, and I've gotten into some arguments, including with Fancy Teeth. If you guys want to catch that out, go to twitter.com. I will be doing twitch.tv/lore reloaded live streams consistently. I promise that's coming up, but I've been having a lot of stuff going on. And right before last but not least, I want to do a special thank you to a couple of people, and this is me actually being pretty serious. I want to say thank you to, well, all of you guys, really, but some special shout-outs, and there's a lot of people that I'd say this, so if I don't put your name, it doesn't mean I'm not appreciative. But I want to thank Captain Redneck, I want to thank the Anti-Tracker, Porrick, Maxwell, Captain George. There's a lot of people, but as you guys know, I've been having a rough couple of months, if not more, as well as a very special person named Logan, and you guys really helped me out a lot, and I really appreciate that. So, the last but not least, there's kind of a couple of things I want to say. I'm going to put this image up right here for absolutely no reason at all. So no reason to worry about that image, but it has come to my knowledge that a certain smaller channel that I definitely haven't watched, but somehow I'm going to have intimate knowledge of, has done a response video to me. And I'm just going to say out of hand, in order to not have to actually deal with the issues that they reasonably bring up, that they are just trying to get views and just trying to get subscribers off of my hard work. And, you know, I am not going to listen to what I'm going to have to catch myself because I'm pretending like I haven't actually seen the video, so he or they or them or how many ever videos haven't done. And, you know, I'm also going to talk about how not important they are because their views are low. And so that's all I have to say. Definitely not at any point related to this image or any other YouTube channel that has their head so far stuck up their rear end. Not related at all. So let's just go ahead and take that image away. Very, very last piece, completely related to the Anti-Tracker, who did a solid video. I just want to say something and this isn't related to the Anti-Tracker, but as you guys know, I got it wrong. They do say the word transwarp quite a bit in the third movie. Has nothing to do with any actual arguments I might have with him, but apparently that's a big deal. So I'm just going to read this, not related to the Anti-Tracker or what he actually is doing, because he can't actually support his own ideas. Just going to throw that out there. Poisoning the well is a type of informal logical fallacy where irrelevant adverse information about a target is preemptively presented to an audience with the intention of discrediting or ridiculing something that the target person is about to say. Completely not related. All right, guys, so let's jump into it. Star Trek. Well, first I gotta say hi to you people. God, I'm so out of sorts today. Let's see. We got Nathan Norman up in the house. Nathan Norman, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. We got Swish Fish, always doing good. Park Maxwell into his house. Horge Nake. Let's see. He wants me to take a look at a channel. I will definitively do that for you, good sir. I will do that in a little bit. We have Captain George, of course, Neil C. Alan Hintages. And we also got, again, as I said, Pork Maxwell out. All right. So this was a theory I honestly saw on the internet that I thought was interesting. I might actually do a lore theory on it, or lore craft, but I'd be interested in what your guys' opinions are. When we take a look at Star Trek V, ultimately, Star Trek V has a couple of things to it that are, shall we say, intriguing. Aaron Alexander, has been a while. Hope you're doing good, buddy. Has been curious. And there's a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense. When you consider Uhura doing a dance, the crew instantly and utterly turning against Kirk for all intents and purposes, the Great Barrier which I'm trying to look it up in the original series. There was the Great... It wasn't the Great Barrier. It was something on the edges of the Milky Way that you couldn't get past. But the middle of the universe, the Great Barrier, has never come up, I don't believe. I could be wrong on that. If you consider the distances, there would have been no way for the Enterprise to make it, the Enterprise A, to make it to the Great Barrier in the amount of time that they said. So, when we consider, and the basic hero worship, ultimately of Captain Kirk. When you put all of that together, by the way, Ian Mill becoming a lore master. What's going on, Ian Mill? Welcome to the gun show, sir. When you consider all of that together, was Star Trek V basically a fevered pitch dream, or something that Kirk wanted to happen, where he was ultimately the hero? Voltage 483 in the animated series, the Great Barrier comes in. Okay, so I hadn't seen it in the original. I'm surprised I don't remember it from the animated. So it is technically canon. So, okay, there is that. But let me ask you, what are your guys' thoughts when it comes to that? Nathan Norman brings up a good point. How we only learn of the ribbon in Generations, and if it does, why would he invent a brother for Spock? Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. First off, the ribbon, the Nexus, doesn't obey the laws of time, so it can go back and forth and whatnot. So the fact it happened in the past wouldn't matter. Why would he create a brother for Spock? Because he would need a villain, and he considered Spock to be his equal, if not greater. But he didn't want to fight Spock, so he created Spock's brother, who would have been a villain that would have had equal power to Spock, and thus would have to go against him. I mean, Kirk really respects Spock. They are as close as friends as you can be. Tazungari, why would Kirk dream of being the hero? He is that already. Maybe he wanted to continue it while in the Nexus. Maybe he wanted to take it to the next step. I mean, you never know. Why does anyone do anything they want? You know what I'm saying? I mean, why would a big channel who all they ever do has gotten their views off of clickbait and attacking people get upset when someone makes a response video? I mean, I don't know. Why would people do that? I don't, you know? Could the Kirk that came out of the Nexus be the real Kirk? Could it have been a quantum clone? It may well have been a quantum clone. Dylan Hoffman, what's going on, Dylan Hoffman? Bird of Prey 5 in the house. What does the Nexus have to do with Star Trek 5? I missed the first couple of minutes. So Bird of Prey 5, we'll just go over it real briefly for those who are just joining. Did Star Trek 5? Star Trek 5 has so many inconsistencies, characters acting the way that they shouldn't have. Kirk literally fighting God. Is Star Trek V not actually canon or consistent, but did it happen in the Nexus? If it happened in the Nexus when Kirk was pulled into it, it explains everything about what happened in Star Trek V. All of the inconsistencies explained. We got Jerome Ziegler. What's going on, sir? What's going on, Mr. Pete Channel? Haven't seen you in a while. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot of things that break in Star Trek V. Look at the Enterprise A. The Enterprise A had so many issues. The thing didn't by the way, I'm doing a breakdown today of Enterprise A, so that's why this kind of stuck with me. The Enterprise A, half the doors didn't work. The turbo lift didn't work. The captain's log is a literal book. They want to send the Enterprise A, even though the ship is not capable of doing anything worth anything. And they have other ships, but Starfleet Command can't figure out how to use transporters to get the crew from one ship to another. There's so many inconsistencies that we have to somehow try to explain it away. There's also something I saw. Joel Untrue, the glaring part of 5 is the travel to the center of the galaxy. We actually already discussed that. Yeah, it doesn't... the time scale doesn't work at all. The Nexus explains everything wrong with TNG movies after Generations. Yeah, you know, I think, was it SF Debris or was it Red Letter Media who basically looked at what happened in Generations and said that everything that happened after Generations actually didn't happen. It was just a fevered pitch dream of a dying old man talking about Picard. Sulu Chekhov getting lost wouldn't be a part of Kirk's Nexus experience. Would it not, though? I mean, Sulu became a captain. Chekhov grew as well. And if Kirk has an ego problem where he has to be the one to stop God, the one to be all that you can be, wouldn't it make sense that he would take Sulu, who would ultimately become a captain, and help him save or stop a Klingon Federation war? Wouldn't he want to minimize them? Wouldn't he want to try to make it so they can't even find their way out? I mean, what are your thoughts when it comes to that? Our cats of the homosexual persuasion says, can Discovery be a bad holo novel? It can. I'm hoping it's alternate universe. I hope they go alternate universe with it, if I'm being completely honest, you know? It'd be nice if that's what occurred, or if they explained it somehow. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe. Bird of Prey 5. It's like, why would my dream have a side story about something I wasn't present for? Bird of Prey 5, you've never had a dream that hasn't had something directly related to you, that isn't some side story that didn't directly relate to you? So the God needs a starship was just a projection of some kind. Well, I mean, we could look at it that way. What would God need with a... What if Kirk was in the Nexus, somewhat fighting himself? There's two layers to him, right? You have God, which is Wile E. Coyote, and you have himself, who's only human. And so the God wants to go, but he knows he's not a God. And he says, you know, what do I need with this? I mean, it's almost like, I don't know, a bigger YouTube channel that has a really short shelf life, because ultimately the attacks on Kathleen Kennedy is just going to get old and it's going to stagnate. But, you know, I can't be sure. I have dreams not about me. I, in fact, have dreams where I don't play a part in some of those scenes. Yes, I do. I would need to rewatch... What's up? I'm live. Well, I mean, you can talk. I just didn't know if you're going to... Be careful what you're going to say. What's up?
I just wanted to say that I'm soon going to have a channel. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, it is. We are going to have a channel.
It's Lore, the Furious Lore.
Cool.
The lore. I'm still working on the name.
Okay. I think the Enterprise A was damaged by the Citation probe from Star Trek 4 before it was renamed. The Enterprise A, I thought, was rebuilt, completely rebuilt brand. Yeah, it was, because they did a, it had its shakedown cruise. It hadn't been damaged at all, to my knowledge. Let's see. Wasn't that just a Q-like being trapped at the center of the galaxy? No, I believe it was just a stronger alien. I believe that it was a... Yeah, I believe it was just an alien of sorts. By the way, I don't think my stuff is coming up for the Super Chats, which is disconcerting. That should be working quite well right now. I guess I could check on that instead of, you know, sitting here talking to you guys. Let's see. David Deister, definitely helping out the channel. Thank you so much. It's stuff like that really keeps everything going and keeps all of this as well as to Our Cat's Gay. I really appreciate you guys helping out the channel. It says, Lore Reloaded. If I was the writer of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, I would have them make first contact with the Cardassians and take the Excelsior and her crew are taken hostage, and the Enterprise has to go rescue them. I mean, that could have been interesting. So let's talk about, let's do real talk for a second, right? It's my understanding that Shatner wanted to do a, and this I think is from SF Debris as well, but he really knows his stuff. But it's my understanding that Shatner wanted to do a comedy, and the execs said no, it has to be super serial, right? And so what they did, what he tried to do was create something that was serious that had to do with God, but was also a comedy. Now, if you guys want to correct me on that, you can, but that is my complete and utter understanding of everything that was going on. And so that's one of the reasons why it didn't do well, is he was trying to mix two different things. He also had somewhat of we'll use the term God complex when it comes to the entire affair. So, Trip the Trippy one, your Munchkin, if she's able to do what you do, James, she should have her own channel. We're talking about putting that together. She wants to do Minecraft and stuff. I mean, whatever she wants to do, I just taking my time with it.
Mostly Roblox.
Let's see. Or Roblox. I'm sorry, not Minecraft. Discovery is Burnham's radiation.
I would do that too.
Okay. Discovery is Burnham's radiation sickness fever dream as she dies while the Shinzu is investigating the probe. That's horrible, but possibly true. There's the rewrite. That's the complete rewrite. Everything was in Burnham's mind. He and none of it happened. She just actually died out on there. Oh man, that would be awesome if I'm being completely honest with you guys. People give the JJ movies S for traveling from Earth to Kronos in a few hours, but forget about the Enterprise in Star Trek V traveling from Earth to Nimbus 3 to the center of the galaxy. Yeah, I mean, that's what we had actually talked about. That's one of the reasons why I think that it was oh wow, that's late. Okay, that was weird. That is really late. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The times don't match up. The characters aren't jiving, and so it doesn't. The only way for it to make sense is if it's a part of the Nexus, or it didn't happen, or it's not canon, or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. It is so inconsistent. How would photon torpedoes, let alone Klingon disruptors, disable a godlike being? So that part is a little bit explainable because it wasn't actually God necessarily. It was just an alien that seemed like they were stronger than they were. Jay Thomas says, I think Juckball Media talks about Star Trek V and the Enterprise A. Okay. Dahawk86, we're talking about Star Trek V. Did it happen in the Nexus? Did it happen in the Nexus or not? We walk through. Didn't you say that the Federation had to have transwarp on its ships, Jane, and wouldn't that explain the speed? It could. I don't know if the Enterprise A came after. I guess it would have. I mean, they might have had the transwarp systems online, which would have made it go faster. Every Trek film has unbelievable situations that could ruin the movie if you dwell on them. I personally don't think Star Trek V is that bad. Says Bird of Prey 5 again. Thank you so much for the donation. Here's the thing for that, though. I agree. There are elements in every Star Trek movie that don't make sense, aren't consistent, things of that nature. But the thing to consider is that the more inconsistencies you have, the more things that don't make sense, the more it's going to pull you out and the more it's going to hurt continuity, right? You can make someone believe that there is an entire Starfleet built upon hundreds, if not thousands, of planets in ships that go through space at faster than light speed. But if you break your own rules on how the speed works, if you give a hero complex to a character that generally doesn't have, if you give a godlike complex to a character that generally doesn't have that, if you make the other characters act outside of the bounds of how they usually act, then I think ultimately you're going to hit a barrier, what's the word I'm looking for? A breach that can't go past. Yeah, good point. 84 people watching. 25 thumbs up. Huge shout out again to the people that helped me out, especially those who might be having a bad day, because you don't need to have a bad day. You're an awesome person. Just remember that. Especially if your name starts with an L. What would happen if the God thing got out? I think it was just a powerful alien. I don't... Honestly, I put the godlike thing below that of Q. Can you throw that away, please?
Sure.
Below that of Q and the prophets. Honestly. At Lore Reloaded, in order for the NCC-171A to reach the core of the universe, it would need to become a generational ship, and it'd be at a minimum the great 20 grandkids, the great to the 20th power grandkids of the original crew. Maybe they were, but they all just... maybe they were, but they all just, you know... what's the word I'm looking for? They all just looked the exact same. It was good breeding, is what it was. But it was completely different people. Star Trek 2, if shields were up, there would be no movie. Star Trek 4, no one notices a cloaked ship in a public park. Star Trek 6, Klingons don't search prisoners for weapons or signaling devices. Are you saying all of those are consistent with the massive amount of issues we have in Star Trek 5, Bird of Prey? Star Trek Apologist channel, by the way, one of the only channels that promotes and talks about how its videos are, how their videos are free 24/7. I solved the distances problem in my speed of plot video. You really need to have me on if you're going to doing an Enterprise A video. Do I really need to have you on? In Kirk's autobiography from Aaron Telford, Star Trek V is explained away as a movie made on the planet where they found where Roman Empire still existed. That's awesome. I want to believe that instead. Let's see. Star Trek V was a badly written holonovel, inaccurately depicting the real situation on Nimbus 3. That could be. That could definitely be. The Skin of Evil was a more intriguing being than that God thing. You know, there is actually some interest, some truth to that. Apollo Serenus wanted to pop in and say hi before getting back to dad duties. Welcome, Apollo. Always good to have you. There is some... what was I talking about? It was a badly written holonovel. Where does the animated series come into play in all of this? Yeah. Man, I forgot what I was talking about. Because I said hi to somebody. Ugh. Are we really trying to explain a bad Star Trek movie by using the lore of another bad Star Trek movie? Yes, we are, Sean O'Neill. We, in fact, are. That's how this works. Welcome to the channel. We got jackets. Oh, the Skin of Evil. That's right. The Skin of Evil, you know, that episode was horrific to the character and the actress. But when you look at the bad guy from the Skin of Evil, even though the episode was pretty dry, that's an interesting connection. That's an interesting villain. The Skin of Evil... the godlike being, I forget if he had a name or not, was left there and was all alone and had been driven crazy by just his solitude. And so when you have the standoff between him and Picard and the discussions there, first off, it shows how great a diplomat Picard was. Just absolutely excellent. But... also, you can kind of feel for the being, even though the being is just so unreasonably evil for no reason. A breakdown of that episode, I think, would be intriguing, and I'm considering doing that. What if they went into stasis for hundreds of years during the transit, then just did that sun thing, got back to their proper time in history? Says Park Max. Well, that could explain it. If they didn't have the new warp drives, then they all went into stasis. As soon as they got there, they got out, and then they went back in time. Issue solved. Captain Redneck says the Hypno Turd says Michael Burnham is the greatest hero in all of Star Trek. Yeah, he does great drawings. I'll agree with that. The Anti-Tracker does great drawings. I don't know if he does it or it's his son, but they're done really well. Why doesn't Khan beam a torpedo to some coordinates they beam the Genesis device up from to kill Kirk? Because Khan doesn't think in 3D like Kirk does. He doesn't think in 3D. Exactly. Skin of Evil, Armis. Armis was the name. Was absolute evil, yet the only thing I could feel for it at the end was pity as Picard talked it down. Yeah, exactly. And then he left him there to his fate, which is just horrific, you know? It's interesting, because it was the worst thing you could do to Armis, was just to leave him to continue to be alone. His son, I know his son does all of his animations. I didn't know if his son did all of the drawings as well. Drawings. Michael Burnham trapped the God Thing in the center of the galaxy because quantum. Nathan Norman. Fever Dream would explain the Klingons looking like demons. She last saw them as a child, and her mind accentuated aspects of their biology over time, distorting their truth. See, now you guys are kind of getting me into that. You guys are kind of making me think that. So consider this. What if Burnham did die? And then that would explain, again, like you said, why the Klingons are off. It would explain why why they are so horrific. The death of her captain. Why she is the center focus. The fact that she never was able to find love, and basically she was so empowered, so important that the enemy fell in love with her. Let me know if that's too much in the background. Don Juan, with the Anti-Tracker's latest videos, it makes me believe he and Laura are hot dog lovers. So I'm gonna state this. And it's not. Oh, now it's doing it. Wow, those are late.
Monk.
What is on your face? Is that a disguise?
What are you? Monk?
I am not talking about parenting. I am talking about the extraordinary consequences of creating.
I might have to turn this off, guys.
Yes,
Does that
yeah.
not describe becoming a parent?
Okay, let me turn this off if it's going to keep doing that.
It's making the video jump.
It is. Okay. The Anti-Tracker's video. Some people brought that up, so let me just go ahead and say this, and this isn't connected at any point or talking about anything, but Anti-Tracker's video response to me: poisoning the well is a type of informal logical fallacy where irrelevant adverse information about a target is preemptively presented to an audience with the intention of discrediting or ridiculing something that the target person is about to say. Completely unrelated. I just thought you guys wanted to know that when you watch that video, and you wanted to know the definition of poisoning the well. So, back to what you guys are talking about. Star Trek V was a holo novel written by Barclay when he was drunk. That I could believe. No, don't. Okay, if you guys like seeing it, it's fine. It's just it's waiting for some reason. But maybe we explain everything that happened. Everything that's bad is always because the main character we see is about to die. So Star Trek V never happened because of the Nexus. Generations, and every movie after Generations didn't happen because of the Picard having going into a heat stroke. And then, that just, it explains everything away. J-Wigs, I figured out Star Trek Discovery. The Klingons found the God Thing, and he made them into vampire orcs with clunker ship. You know, that could have happened. Serious. That could have been what actually occurred. I mean, you never know. But it's quite possible. It is definitively quite possible. I don't know. Do you guys have anything to add? I mean, those were my thoughts on it. I might actually do a video trying to describe it. I would love actually to do a Lorecraft video of talking about how Cybok tried to overthrow the Vulcan government. I think that would have been very interesting. Let's see. Could Q fix Star Trek? I don't think so. I don't think Q wants to fix Star Trek. He honestly comes off as a trickster who has a heart of gold. None of it happened because of Thor. Kirk died too young. Discovery Klingons, original Klingons. Ash Tyler is the poison that makes all the Klingons smooth-headed in the original Star Trek. Then they fixed the virus. Truth. Truth right there. Q is in prison for like 20 years. There's a good question, Trip asked, and I thought about that too. Could Q be the reason that they're all messed up? Is that what happened? You know? What's going on there? Alright, anything else before we end this hot streak? Personally, I think Cybok was a good concept, but could have been done better. Yeah, maybe. What do you think if the 1701 was really refitted to the Phase 2 design for the first 3 films, and the Enterprise A would be the Connie refit from the TOS films? I think that would be a way to bridge them, but is silly, if you ask me. But I mean, it's possible. I'm quite enraged you could nominate Archer for the 10 worst captains of all time. The man literally saved humanity. What more does he have to do? Unsubscribe. Oh, please. Archer was horrific. There's a lot of people who saved humanity that did a lot of good for this Earth that are bad people. And I would say that Archer is among the chief, among the top of them. Delancey didn't go to... You're lying to me. Who played Q? Is that Delancey? Delancey didn't go to jail. John D. Delancey prison. He didn't go to jail. You're messing with me. John D. Delancey did not go to jail. What would you think if Star Trek ended up in our universe? I think that is the best case scenario for humanity, so it would probably be a good thing. Honestly. I think that, because I've discussed this before, I think that we have a couple of timelines that will probably meet up. I think Deep Space Nine Star Trek is the best case scenario for us, which I think is unrealistic. I think Babylon 5 is probably the middle. Is probably where we're going to do it. I think that the worst and the most likely... Well, not most likely, because I think we'll probably do Babylon 5 if we're going there. I think the worst case is something like a Warhammer, maybe the Expanse. Possibly, I think the Expanse would be between the worst and the middle, so I'd put the Expanse there. I think we'd be lucky if we got the Expanse. But that's my opinion of where things would go. Actually, that idea is part of a series of fanfics me and a few friends are working on, says Starfleet 2360. Well, that's intriguing. We'll more than likely have something like the Terran Empire with Trump's Space Force. Maybe. That's possible. Or someone's Space Force. Doesn't necessarily have to be Trump. The opposite side doesn't have the best of people either. If Star Trek comes to our universe, I want to be the Defiant, says Gabriel Ferris, acting like Enderman, if you will. Enderman. Which I gotta do a video for Enderman. Yeah. Bragan Berman made Archer what he was. Bakula was great in the other roles. He just made bad decisions. I don't care about the writing. Let me rephrase that. I don't care about the portrayal, not the writing. I don't care about the portrayal. I think the actor did fine. What I do think is that the choices and decisions that were made by Archer up until the Xindi arc and the Borg episode were very, very poorly done. They didn't make a lot of sense. They were contradictory. There was just a lot to it. I don't have a lot of respect for Archer. Now, to be fair, he was the first one out there, right? He was the first one to explore. And so this is looking at it from a third-person view and seeing what better captains had done, a la Picard, a la Cisco, even Lorca, until we got to the Terran Empire BS. So there is some bias there. I just don't think he made good decisions. It's just my opinion on it. Do you ever do fan design ships? Ultimately, I will, if someone wants me to, but I'm going to go through canon and then licensed beta canon first. Alright, guys, I think we're going to do a early one today. Just a quick one, and yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So I do want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks so much for, going out. I'm probably going to do a live stream tonight. I will be having a video coming out very shortly, within the next hour or two. It'll be on the complete lore of the Enterprise A. And so I'm looking forward to that. Not the biggest on the script, but I'm looking forward to it mostly. But let me know your guys' thoughts and what you want to do. And I will see you guys on the next Lore Reloaded. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Catch you next time.